Hey Wildcats, it's Miss Johnson, and I am here today to get you started on your first formal grade for the second quarter. And I've been very impressed with students so far this quarter. You guys have been doing a great job getting your work completed, getting it turned in, asking questions if you need help. So keep up the good work, and I know that we're going to do a great job on this test today. So let's go ahead and open up the assignment that reads Thursday, October the 27th and Friday, October the 28th. Show what you know. Okay, so go ahead and click on that link. I already have mine up and ready to go. Actually, I'm going to make a quick copy of it just in case I can't remember. This one was linked to our Canvas page, so I don't want to mess anybody up. All right, now you might be wondering, like, wait a minute, that looks a little different. We've streamlined our show what you know document just a bit, and it's actually going to make things a little bit faster for you, and I think a little bit easier. It's the same concept. So you still have step 1, step 2, step 3, just like before. We've just kind of combined step 1 and step 2 just a little bit. Okay, so first, let's look at our directions. And we're focusing on Part-Time Indian Section 4. That's what we've been reading this week. And we are going to show what we know, everything we've learned. Remember, we focused on characterization, symbolism. We figured that out. And we also talked about figurative language as we were reading a bit. All right, so let's look at these 3 stars. The Part-Time Indian EOC assessment is made up of just 6 multiple choice questions, not so bad. Complete all steps below to break down the questions, then answer them in your own words. And this is also part of your formal grade. So this document, the Show What You Know, this is a formal grade in addition to the formal grade you get when you complete the Mastery Connect, when you choose your answers. So lastly, then you'll answer the multiple choice questions in Mastery Connect using this Show What You Know document to help you, right? We know the drill now. All right, so we have just altered step 1 just a little bit. I think it'll just be a little bit faster. So step 1 says, read each question carefully, duh, right? Then you're gonna highlight the most important words and phrases that help you to understand what the question is asking. So before we had you copy and paste, I think highlighting will be a little bit faster. Then in step 2, you're gonna put your questions in your own words. And then obviously in step 3, because you've already read Part-Time Indian, you'll be able to answer the questions. But I'm going to go through this Show What You Know document with Part-Time Indian in the same way we would do it with a brand new passage, because you guys are going to have a test next week. So next week when you have your test, you're going to have a new passage that you've never read before. So first, when you complete Show What You Know with something you've never read before, you always do steps 1 and step 2 first. Because remember, that tells us what to look for when we're reading and gives us a focus as we read. Then we'll go back and read it, and as we read, we'll complete step 3. So just to practice that process, right now we are going to complete steps 1 and step 2. Then we will go back and complete step 3. So let's get started. All right, so here we are highlighting important words and phrases, and then we are going to write out the question in our own words. So question 1 says, which sentence from Part-Time Indian best supports the inference that Junior and Gordy both value education? All right, so I am going to highlight, oh, I can't do it that way. I'm going to highlight this word sentence, and I'm going to highlight the word inference because that is very important. And this fact that both Junior and Gordy both value education. So because it says sentence, now I'm moving over to step 2 and I'm putting it in my own words. That's essentially telling me that there's going to be a list of quotes. So A, B, C, D, I have to choose the quote, which quote supports the inference. So they're already telling us the inference. The inference is that Junior and Gordy both value education. So I need a quote that shows me, which quote shows that Junior and Gordy value education. Which quote shows me that Junior and Gordy value education? So now I'll be able to easily answer that in just a few minutes. So moving on to number 2. Again, we're highlighting, then we're putting the question in our own word. This one's a little bit longer. Number 2 says, read the excerpt. Okay. And the quote says, I hate this little town. It's so small, too small. Everything about it is small. The people here have small ideas, small dreams. They all want to marry each other and live here forever. All right, we know that's. So based on the above paragraph, what can the reader infer about Penelope? All right, so I've got the quote. I'm just going to highlight the first phrase of the quote because that kind of sums it up. She's saying, I hate this town. It is no bueno. So, and all of these quotes after it kind of say the same thing. So no need to copy and paste or highlight every single thing. So based on the above paragraph, what can the reader infer? Infer, that means I'm reading between the lines. What educated guess can I make about Penelope? And certainly I want to highlight Penelope's name because that's who we're being asked about. And we focused on characterization as we read. So actually, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna highlight everything because it is based on the whole quote. And I'm also going to copy it and put it here because I need to analyze that whole quote. So, but based on that whole quote, what inference can I make about Penelope? Okay. I don't know why that's so small. That's okay. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. And then I know, duh, it's based on that quote. No need to write that down. So I've got the quote, and then I have to make a logical inference about Penelope based on that quote. Okay. Number 3. What is the purpose of the personification found in the excerpt below? So hopefully you guys are already saying to yourselves, oh, I know what personification is. Yes, that's right. That's when an author gives human characteristics to non-human things. All right. So to highlight, what is the purpose? Like, why would the author do that? What is the purpose of the personification in the quote? Now, as a good reader, I need to read this quote and I need to be able to identify, pick out where that personification is. And the quote says, but I just kept thinking that my sister's spirit hadn't been killed. She hadn't given up. This reservation had tried to suffocate her, had kept her trapped in a basement, and now she was out roaming the huge grassy fields of Montana. Now, I'm hoping that you guys are chomping at the bit to highlight that example of personification that you already see, that our author has given the reservation human characteristics, right? Because a reservation is a place. And to suffocate someone, that's giving it human characteristics, like literally putting your hands around someone's neck. So this whole sentence right here is our personification, giving the reservation human characteristics. So even harder than that, we've got to figure out what was the purpose of this personification. So let's put this in our own words. What is the purpose of the personification? And then I'll just put colon, and then I can copy and paste. And again, I don't know why it keeps going back to being so small, but we can just make it bigger. What is the purpose of the personification? Tried to suffocate her. That's not nice. All right, we are halfway finished. Let's go and look at question number 4. Number 4 says, read the quote and then answer the following question. Yeah, so you see the wood has not turned into rocks. The rocks have replaced the wood. Ooh, that should hopefully little bells are ringing. You're like, oh, I remember that lesson we learned about symbolism. And then the question says, how might petrified wood that has turned into stone over time, be a symbol for Junior? All right, so again, this whole quote is important. And then it says, how might petrified wood so that we're talking about the symbol itself, be a symbol for junior? Okay, so I have to answer, how is it a symbol? Not just that, yes, it is a symbol, but like how? So when I put this question into my own words, I'm going to include the whole quote because that is important. How does the quote show that petrified wood is a symbol for junior? Okay. All right, very good. Now we have 2 final questions to go. Both are pretty straightforward. So I'm going to have you guys do those 2 on your own. So first, step 1, you read the question, and then you highlight the most important words or phrases. And then in step 2, put those questions into your own words. So number 5, which quote below illustrates Gordy's main effect on Junior? Okay, I remember talking about that. And number 6, which statement supports the most significant positive impact Penelope's character has on Junior? Oh, and I see positive is underlined, so that is important. All right, very good. So we're going to pause the video now, and you guys are going to complete number 5 and number 6, and then you'll meet back with your teacher, and then you will complete step 3. So go ahead and pause the video, and then I'll see you in a second. All right, so now that we have completed steps 1 and step 2, since we have read Part-Time Indian and we are the experts, it is now time to answer the questions. Okay, so, and I'm not going to do all of them because you guys are getting really good at this show what you know. I'll probably do a handful with you, and then you guys will finish the rest on your own. All right, so now the question that we put into our own words for number 1 is, I know I'm looking for a quote. So it says, which quote shows that Junior and Gordy value education? So in my answer, obviously I don't have a list of quotes to choose from yet, because that's going to be in the answer choices. But I can think back to what I read and think about the particular chapter or the section where maybe they were talking about school, or maybe they were talking about something related to education. And I do remember, so Junior said that Gordy really taught him how to study, and he was thankful for that. So that shows that they both value education. So it might be something about the quote about how Gordy taught Junior to love learning, school, projects, all of those things. And again, I don't know exactly the quote it's going to be, but it's got to be about something like that. Let's see here. So we've got number 1. We know what to look for, and then when we move on to Mastery Connect, we will compare our answer to the answer choices available, and we'll use that to help us pick the best one. All right, number 2, our question was, what inference can I make about Penelope based on this quote? And it says, I hate this small town. It's so small, too small. Everything about it is small. The people have small ideas, small dreams. They all want to marry each other and live here forever. Well, the inference I can make about Penelope is it doesn't sound like she really likes that town very much, right? So Penelope doesn't feel like she can live out her dreams in Reardon, right? That's the inference I'm making. I remember her talking about all sorts of dreams. And one of those dreams was not to marry somebody in that town and live there forever. That was not one of her dreams, and that's okay. So I'm inferring based on what she's saying that she doesn't feel like she's going to be able to attain her dreams by living in Reardon because it's too small. All right. Now, number 3. What is the purpose of the personification? And the personification was, I listed it right here, the reservation had tried to suffocate her. And her is, I should have written this down before, Mary. So the reservation tried to kill her, like literally put its hands around her neck. That's why it's personification, because reservations don't have hands. and tried to kill Mary. So what's the purpose? So if the reservation tried to kill her, the purpose of the personification is to show maybe that there are tons of obstacles from living on the reservation, and that's why Mary ends up running away, right, with that gambler. I still don't think that was a great decision, Mary. Anyway, okay, so we've got our answer there. What is the purpose of that reservation? The purpose, like if the reservation is literally killing her, that's negative, right? So it has a negative impact. All right, so now we have number 4, 5, and 6. Number 4, hopefully you're thinking back to our whole lesson that we completed about petrified wood and how it was a symbol in that chapter and how it kind of represented or symbolized the same feelings Junior was having, right? So you guys are going to complete your answers right now for number 4, 5, and 6. So review your questions that you put into your own words, then record what you think the answer could be. Now, again, remember, like for number 5, you don't have the quotes in front of you. None of us have memorized the book. That would be silly. But think back to what the exercise, the activity we did, and we listed all of those main effects that Gordy had on Junior. So you can list multiple things here. And same thing with number 6. Again, we can't memorize the quotes, but we're going to remember from our lesson how Penelope impacted Junior. So at this time, we're going to pause the video, and then you will complete your answers for 4, 5, and 6, and then go back with your teacher and wait for further instructions. All right, guys, see you later.